Well, hey there, everybody. This is Catherine Isabel Jennings for Your Life Matters News and Comment and Your Life Matters Wellness. And today I am going to be talking to you primarily on two issues that we really have to look at, but I'm touching base to follow up with some data that I kind of missed in my very last video, which was the one on theory and experiments. And I just wanted you to get some of this data. It's important that you know this. I wanted to go back to my point of bridging the theory concept and with experiments. Both are not absolute in their nature, but as you see, and I'm sending you back to the video, it's a very good video, they are bridging themselves in our society. Oh my goodness, the theory of critical race is bridging itself with our experimental vaccine. And why is that? Well, I'm going to give you the why, the true data of the why. It came from Chris Cuomo and a doctor that was on there, and she kind of put her foot in her mouth, and I'm so glad she did, because she correlated something that I already knew. And as someone in America and someone who's researching other countries, I'm learning that we are being lied to. And this doctor, who was on CNN with Chris Cuomo roughly 10 days ago of me airing this video here, she's up there and she's saying that she has a big concern. These are verbatim, by the way. I'm trying to get the whole verbatim portion of this. She's concerned that they're not going to meet the vaccine, quote, herd immunity. Where did that phrase come from? Herd immunity, because of vaccine hesitancy. Well, I'm hesitant, and I know why I'm hesitant, but she's concerned now using this vaccine as a ticket to pre-pandemic lifestyle. They're trying to tell us that if you get a vaccine, it's going to be you're going to be able to have your freedoms and go out. And she is concerned because she's saying the window is narrowing because all of these states are reopening without all of that, quote, herd immunity, okay? Which tells you something is not, it's not sitting well. Does it not? You mean to tell me that I have to have something in my arm that is an experimental vaccine? It's not a conclusive one. It doesn't have its longevity proof of side effects, and I have to have this as part of the herd mentality, and the herd mentality is saying that I have to have these papers and or immune portions put on paperwork. God, I'm fumbling with my words, but I have to have these to have my freedoms. When several states have already opened up, and I've been saying this to people, why are these governors opening up these states? Because the data of the numbers of the infected, dying people don't even come close to the flu numbers. Okay, and we have been bought a lie, and this doctor's on CNN's Chris Cuomo saying that we've got to keep going with this herd immunity, and she's basically saying otherwise the reopening policy to vaccination is just going to be hard to limit, and we don't have another, she goes, and we don't know what the other carrot is going to be. What other carrot is she talking about? What is that? What will be the incentive, she says, to get a vaccine? What's the incentive? What is she saying here? She's saying that we will not have our freedom. She's trying to push for this thing. She exposed the whole baloney right there. She's saying that we all have to have a vaccine because of our freedoms. Well, guess what? She goes, yeah, well, they're going to get their freedoms anyway because these states are opening up. And she actually said, she says she thinks that the CDC and Biden must come out and say, if you are vaccinated, you can get all these things. The states are opening up without that mandate. Hello. Okay. She goes, because otherwise these people are going to go out and enjoy them anyway. How stupid is this? It's like a sci-fi. They're going to want to track you. They're going to want to be involved with your health and your economics. It's just, and this is like moving. We're doing this herding thing. America is number one in doing this the fastest. Do you understand what that means? By me going into another, getting data from other countries, they're not doing this. Why is the United States targeted? It's because China wants to track us, okay? And we have politicians that are initiating this. We have a major media that's pushing this, pushing, getting inoculated. Are you kidding me? This is a lie to strip your freedoms, people. I want you to go and check this out for yourself, all right? You don't have to take an experimental vaccine. You don't know the side effects of it. It's an experiment, and you're a guinea pig. Please, people, please get your data before you just run with somebody's whatever. Think it through. Okay, so, all right, so now I'm gonna, that was hopefully brief. Now I'm gonna go to HR 1. Okay, so when a new administration comes in, the House of Representatives and the Senate, they have a whole focal point on what they're going to try to pass through fast. And since Biden has gotten in, we have been inundated with a plethora of major changes and paperwork like this in these bills, and a minimal amount of time to look and ascertain what is in the bill and break it apart and understand what's going on. So I am trying to paraphrase and get the word out there for other people who are doing this. In the case of HR 1, I'm using Ted Cruz, and I'm basically, in a lot of ways, I'm verbating him. And I totally appreciate Ted Cruz, and he's on the front lines of all this baloney. He's actually renaming HR 1 as the Corrupt Politicians Act. And it's S1 in the Senate. It's HR 1 in the House, but he's naming it the Corrupt Politicians Act, and S1 in the Senate. Okay, this is this administration's top priority. When you have a 1 next to the HR, you're looking at the priority range. So basically, what this bill is going to do is, well, first of all, let's ask. Does this administration, is the main priority locking down, COVID-19, getting people immunized, getting people back to work, getting kids in school? No, their overreaching priority is to locking in power for the Democrats for the next 100 years. That's it. Okay, how? The Corrupt Politicians Act mandates voter registration for anyone, anywhere, who has an interaction with the government, whether they are getting a welfare check, whether they are on unemployment or driver's license from the DMV. Let's see. Okay, what if you attend public university? Well, you are mandated to register to vote no matter what. Everyone is registered. Okay, this bill is primarily intended to register all illegal aliens. So, The text of the Corrupt Politicians Act, or H.R. 1, literally says all of this. Quote, illegal aliens who are registered to vote, even though it is illegal for an alien to vote, there is no liability because they are automatically registered to vote. This is insane. They are not citizens. They are just, it's to overflow this whole voter registration scenario and blow it out of the water so that they can remain in power. This bill prevents the states from correcting this, all states, from removing illegals from the voter registration lists or even dead people from the registration list. This Corrupt Politicians Act, H.R. 1, has this ability. This bill facilitates fraud on all levels, and it mandates that all criminals that are all felons be allowed to vote. Many states have reasonable laws that prohibit criminals to vote. Murderers, sex offenders, abusers, rapists, for example. This bill gives them the right to vote. The Democrat politicians are doing this because by giving all of these people the right to vote, whether they're illegal or they are criminals, they are going to keep the Democrats in power. This bulk of people. Okay, forever. The Democratic Party forever. I have a personal question. Is this really how you want your party to operate? Is this honest? Is this forthcoming? You tell me. I want to know, because I mean, do you want to live like that? To me, that seems so dishonest and so disrespectful of those who worked hard to be citizens, who actually came here and followed the due process of becoming a citizen and getting their green card. I know several people. That's such an insult to them, and it's an insult to me, who was born here, who paid my freaking taxes, and my family. Gosh, we paid so many taxes. Whatever they gave us to do, we paid it. Okay, so what is that saying to us? And what is it saying to you? I'm just saying that. Okay, so basically what this bill will be doing is it will honestly strip down all of our voting integrity. Anything that comes down to voting in elections, it will strip it down. For instance, you don't have to have a photo ID. Voter identification, gee whiz, 29 states have voter identifications, and guess what? 80% of all Americans are in favor of voter ID, and this is saying no. This is saying no. You don't have to have this. Who gives people the right to speak for 80% of our country? Who gives anybody that right? We've got to take steps to know that. They are not working for the people. 80% of the people want voter ID. Gosh. So, the Political Corruptions Act strikes everything that has to do with these 29 states, that has to do with you as part of that 80% who wants voter ID. It strikes it out. You don't have the right. Okay, so, you want me to ask that question again? Is this the kind of party you want to be run by? Okay, so look at this. Georgia, Arizona, West Virginia are 3 states with voter ID laws. And those 3 senators are Democratic senators, and they are for this Corruption Act, H.R. 1. What does that tell you, Georgia and Arizona and Virginia? And my guess is a good percentage of that 80% that I said are in your states. What is that telling you? You voted these people in. They want to stay in as your state representatives or whomever. They want to stay in for 100 years. Is that what you want? Stand up, guys, because these state senators are voting for this. Okay. So here's the other thing. The HR 1 or the corruption bill, this Corrupt Politician Act, this one will mandate, it puts in a mandate for ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting. That means that people can go into nursing homes and grab, I don't know, hundreds of ballots and say, oh, I don't want that person. Oh, I don't want that person. And they can do whatever the heck they want with those ballots. They can do anything. They can harvest 1,000 from, I don't know, corporation. And they can say, oh, nope. And they could throw out those ballots that they don't want, keeping the Democrats in for life. All right. So, if you notice that rebranding the HR 1 as the Corrupt Politicians Act, this exposes the reality of what's really going on. I like Lance Reno bringing up Georgia and Arizona. Your senators are overturning your state's voter ID laws to create a permanent Democrat majority in your state by removing your voter protections in terms of voter IDs. Okay, I'm telling you to get on the phone to your state senators, to your House of Representatives. I don't care. Let's flood these people and say, no, absolutely not. And please forward this video, because this is important for people to know. This is very, very important. And with that, I'm going to go into HR. Where are we? HR 5, because HR 5 is another one. If you don't get this, we're going to lose people, and we need to stand our ground on what we know to be true. We were founded on solid, intellectual, scientific, God-fearing principles. We were founded on this. Our country was founded by godly principles, and with that came a lot of wisdom in how we grew. We are pioneers. We don't have to step away from our pioneer gifts here. You know, we're forerunners, people. And this HR 1 or the Corrupt Politicians Act, we've got to stand united. And this HR 5, whoa. This HR 5, I brought this up. I'll have to find my other video. But this HR 5 is crazy too. All right, so here, where are we? Okay. All right, so Lance Wallno, on today, this is April 9th. April 7th. Sorry. He was on his program. He had an activist par excellence named Janice Porter. She's Faith to Action Network, and she is a geek on this HR 5. HR 5 Transgender Supremacy Act. Basically, what she says in a nutshell, it will flush all our civil rights down the toilet. And she breaks it down, and I really like how she did it. I did it on one of my earlier videos. I'll have to find it for you if you want. I broke it down in a different way, but it's very similar. Okay, so she says this is going to affect every school, every organization, all businesses, all Christian schools, all really everything, higher ed. It's going to affect everything. Okay, so basically with HR 5, grab this, people. HR 5, it's called, We call this the Inequality Act. It's so bad that a man can come in and intrude in a woman's shower room or in a prison or in a shelter just because he changes his clothes differently. And frankly, this is called political rape. It takes everything that we women have worked for and struggled for to gain identity and just to take care of ourselves and stick to our guns. It takes all of that and flushes it down the toilet. Yes, it does it for women. So any man, like I said, could change their clothes and say, hey, and just come into our safe places. And I did a whole thing on what that would mean to girls and adolescents. It's going to muck that up so bad. And we women, we have it bad enough growing from young girls into adult women. It's all on my previous video. It's perplexing what this could do to our young girls. Perplexing. Okay, so let's see. So this doesn't just hurt. This doesn't just hurt women and girls going into adolescence. This hurts children too. This Janice Porter, she's such a strong advocate for children's safety, and she has this whole work that she's working on called the Heartbeat Bill, which recognizes science. If there's a heartbeat detected, a baby's protected. And she's been working very, very diligently, and she's got at least 12 different states have passed this bill. Anyway, what HR 5 will do is eliminate every heartbeat law that's been passed. It will wipe out every parental consent, every informed consent, every waiting period, every right to know, every paying capabilities that you need to understand, any funding for the needs or avenues of processing funding. It will eliminate the conscious clause that doctors can fall back on. It will take that away from them. And basically, Janice Porter was like, where did this come from in this HR 5? And basically, it is in this one little hidden group of data which uses some very broad words, and because they're broad words, this can happen and this will happen if this is passed. So basically the broad words are there's a part where it evaluates pregnancy, childbirth, and related. The word is related. That's how broad this is. Medical conditions. Related medical conditions is an extremely broad terminology. This means you cannot discriminate against any medical condition of any means. Okay? So this means this means you cannot prohibit a child or pass any law to protect children in any way, whether they have a beating heart or whether they don't. This is how broad that term related medical conditions can be expanded on. It's not just me babbling. This is how broad that can be inclusive to these words that I'm saying to you. So whether the children are moments before birth or after. Now here's where it gets gnarly. But the term medical condition goes much deeper. HR 5 has got to be stopped. It's got to be stopped. You've got to stand up with it. Here's where it gets gnarly. The born child, having been re-educated under the HR bill, okay, with all this propaganda, with all this baloney, what happens if the child goes in and a library reads about, oh, I don't know where did I put this one? A drag queen story. And this kid comes out not knowing what to do, is no personal identity, pre-adolescent, or during adolescence. He's listening about drag queens and this, that, and the other, and they're probably getting very explicit these days. Okay, what happens to that kid if they, if they're questioning? Well, they'll go in and get an assessment from a mental health care worker with or without a parental consent. Okay, and they will go and they will say, well, you have gender dysphoria, and let's put you on some hormones to change your physical your gender. Okay, and this goes into the process. Parents can't stop this. They won't be able to stop this. Okay, so not only that child can mutilate its body parts anytime it wants to, and parents can't step in. And if you have a pastor, if you're a Christian or a rabbi that has, the credentials up the wazoo to minister and counsel these children into loving them into their personal identity and show them why they are not allowed to do that anymore. It's off limits. So, all right. We are not allowed at that point to give any kind of counsel to a child who is confused with their gender issue. We're not allowed to give anything. Opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? So you want mental wellness for, I don't know, alcoholism, but you can't, and that's an adult disease, but you can't give counseling for a child, who's going through an identity crisis that they aren't even mature to address. All right, this is totally wrong, and we've got to stop this. All right, so how would you get the word out on this? Well, they've tried. Janice Porter's tried, and I guess she's tried in emails, and they flooded the House of Representatives and the Senate, and they said, you're barraging us, we're shutting you down. So right now, if you look up stophr5.com, you can actually get some postcards sent to you, and you can mail them to your House of Representatives and to your Senate and to every local official, and you could have businesses take this on and give this to them. So I really putting it out there to this is misnamed. HR 5 is called, it's misnamed the Equality Act. It is the Inequality Act. It destroys all. It destroys all our liberties, free speech, pro-life laws, and puts women and children in danger. And I want you to know about it, because your life matters. Your children matter. Your children and your rights matter to take care and protect your children. Please get to Stop HR 5 and get those postcards out there, and please call your senators and say no to HR 1. I'm Catherine Isabel Jennings for Your Life Matters Wellness and Your Life Matters News and Comment. Please forward this. Please subscribe to my videos on my YouTube. Thank you so much.